Greetings, 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 peace and love, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Here to Help You. I am Dave Rankin. This is not Simone Jennifer Smith, as you can see on the overlay. However, though, we have my good brethren, Bruce Dwayne, in the house today. Wagwan.
Salute.
Salute, salute.
How are you doing today?
Can't complain, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. We're kind of excited today for today's show, right? As the title does suggest, considering the release of the Black Panther movie,
Yep.
right, and the whole infusion of Afro-Futurism within the movie or the character itself,
Yep.
right? We're talking about Afro-Futuristic or Afro-Futurism characters.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got a few of them we're going to go through. Plus, we have a special guest today as well, Mr. Kelvin Mawazo from Black Sun Comics, which is going to make for an exciting conversation today.
And he has an interesting artwork and comic for this one. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. So
it is non-traditional, definitely. Yeah. So, but you know what? It is definitely an option which was laid out for a lot of comic book enthusiasts.
Yep.
Right? So definitely it was something that we like to go ahead and take part later on, right?
Okay.
Definitely. So the first thing I want to ask you today, right, is how did you feel about the movie?
The movie was great. Like, I enjoyed it. My personal favorite. I know a lot of people will debate and have arguments of saying, like, the first Avengers was the best, or even Iron Man. But my personal favorite, Black Panther. Like,
okay.
And not because it was overhyped or anything like that. Like, I actually really did enjoy it.
Okay.
Like, I did have like a few discrepancies here and there about certain things. But
so did I.
But it's at the same time, like, all in general, like, it was actually really a great movie.
The overall production, definitely. I thought, you know what? They showed a little bit of tech.
Yes.
Right, which was interesting. For myself, I wish there was a little more infusion of the technology which they possessed, right? I thought that probably would have made for a little bit more of a greater storyline, right? Outside of that, though, wonderful production, right? I also enjoyed seeing all of us come out and enjoy the movie. You know, whether you're in a daishiki, whether you're wearing a bati from Somalia, regardless
or even if you're wearing the Black Panther costume. Like, there was a lot of people doing cosplay. And, like, everybody came out to actually just have fun and enjoy themselves.
It's for sure.
It came, which was actually really exciting to see. Like, unlike, like, it's like Star Wars came out and everybody, when Star Wars comes out, everybody's out there having fun.
Right.
Everyone has their little lightsabers. They're in the parking lot. They get people in their Black Panther costumes, and then they have the traditional outfits going on. So it was actually really, really fun.
Yeah, and not just here in the city. I know Simone and we attended a grand opening downtown, right? But just to see the amount of our people all over the world, right, walking into a theater with such expectation, right, and come out with such fulfillment. It's interesting in regards to what's going to happen from here on in, especially in regards to now our representation now in films, right? I mean, of course, we have a lot of representation in comics, definitely, right? But I mean, now the transition now into film. This is something that's going to be interesting because, you know what? At one point in time, there was a myth that simply we were just not big sellers. Yeah. Right? But now Black Panther has crashed that myth.
And I don't know how much they're selling. They're talking about, like, what, 500 million?
I wouldn't, you know what? It's probably a lot more now.
Approaching
a billion.
Yeah, so
oh, boy.
Like, look at that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's only been, like, what, a week and a half now?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
About 2 weeks.
So it's like, that's amazing to me. Like, like, to be honest with you, like, the whole cast was basically black.
Yes.
You had, like, what, 4 white people throughout the whole entire movie.
Right.
So it's like it's just great to see, you know what I'm saying? Especially with, like, little kids growing up, and, like, they have, like, more representation now in the mainstream, I should say.
Right.
So, because I know when we were younger, we had, like, we're going to touch on a few of them. We had, like, a lot of representation from, like, what, Green Lantern, Black Panther.
That's right.
Like, everything from the Justice League even to Marvel, like, they had that representation, but it wasn't really on the mainstream level as it is kind of now.
Yeah. I remember Blade. I definitely remember Blade when Wesley Snipes, went to the big theater,
Yeah.
right? And
Spawn. I can't
Spawn,
remember
yes,
Spawn
we
too.
can't forget Spawn as well. So I mean, we've had our little successes here and there, but nothing has topped this today, and it brings, of course, the reason why we're doing today's episode, right? Afro-futurism. Now, I'm gonna get your definition, right, and then we're gonna go into a definition which was provided to me by my cousin, Qversity, who is in fact a vice executive. I believe it is either president or just pretty much an executive position with the Black speculative arts movement.
Okay.
So, how would you define Afrofuturism?
I don't really have like a definition for Afrofuturism, but like if what I would think it would mean would be everything that's futuristic and black and African
Right.
and futuristic stuff like going on from like technology to even fashion, man. Like
Yeah.
so a certain way we dress, we're ahead of the times.
There you go. Right. And in fact, that is pretty much along the lines of the definition which I received. So pretty much it's a movement in literature, right? And music, art, and etc. Right. And have this representation now in places where simply Africa is an actual central focus. If not Africa the continent, but Africa is people. Her people, that is, right? And of course, the infusion of course, technology, right, which you just stated. So, I mean, you're looking at stuff that which is far light years ahead of our time. They were considered, T'Challa is supposed to be smarter than Tony Stark,
Yeah.
right?
Even richer.
And
Don't forget Richard.
Don't forget more
Black
dollars.
man, Richard,
That's right.
the richest person
You know what
probably in the
I'm
world. So,
right? Also, another gentleman who we may touch on today, but Mr. Terrific,
yeah.
right, who was once considered either in the top 5 percentile of smart people or smart geniuses, right? They said in his story that he had 14 PhDs,
Wow.
right, which of course would enable him to go ahead and design the tech. Which,
And how old was he? Like
wow, they said he was like breaking down physics from the age of 6.
6?
6.
Physics at 6. What was I doing at 6? Like, not physics, I can tell you that.
I was still watching Sesame Street. I don't know y'all.
I don't even know if I could write my name at 6 years old.
For sure, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, like this is something now it's brought into the forefront for us. Now with the Black Panther character, of course, you're looking now during the 70s where Jack Kirby took it over, right? And that whole infusion of course, of a futuristic theme was at that point in time. But to watch it transcend to now,
Yeah.
right? It's amazing, man. It's amazing, guys. Of course, the leaps and bounds that it has taken, right? And more importantly, the pride that it is put and installed in our people as well.
Exactly.
So with that being said, let's jump into our first character, Cyborg.
Cyborg. So this will be DC Comics.
Yes.
His name is also Victor Stone. DC Comics presents number 26 will be the first issue. That was in October 1980.
Okay.
It was created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. We have the picture up there. So Victor was a high school athlete at odds with his brilliant scientist father, Silas Stone. Vic was caught in an explosion at the Star Labs when a nearby father box detonated. His father saved his life by using experimental technology to turn him into a cyborg in the Red Room. Dr. Stone injected his son with nanites and installed experimental robotic parts on him. These included Promethean skin graft,
Oh wow.
Dr. Will Magnus, Responsometer, Professor Ivos, I can't even pronounce his name, a maze operating system, the classified and prototypical B-maze operating system on him as well, Dr. Ryan Child's White Dwarf stabilizer, as well as the energies from this father box was all incorporated into Vic Stone. This allowed him to access vast new gods data library discovered from Darkseid's true invasion plans.
Right.
When Vic first woke from after the accident, he discovered he could not move his legs. And then after later of this new robotic body, the Red Room was attacked by... This is actually a different story. So this is a different part to...
what we know of.
What we know of. So this was like the first earlier parts, his dad actually did build
The body.
on him. The new side where it's like a bunch of nanites actually took over his body.
Okay.
And they formed arms, legs, and it was incorporated into
Wow.
him. So what we have here for superpowers is cybernetic enhancements that provide superhuman strength,
Okay.
endurance, durability, can also interface the computers. Built into his body armor were an infrared eye computer generator,
Okay.
sound amplifier, white noise cannon, and special programming adapter that allowed him to interface with other body extensions.
Okay.
And then there's techniques physiology. For a brief time, Victor was assimilated into a technomorphic species of a living computers called a Technus race.
Oh boy.
Through them, his core essence was assimilated into the vast digitized sentience network, which afforded him to host a unique super tropical attribute, which made Vic that much more powerful than ever before.
No, if
That was his second. That was
the
nanites.
then oh boy.
So he's actually like, he became smart just because of the nanites.
The
Because
nanites.
he's able to like
Download information.
from anything.
Right.
From anything. Like so.
This was
Especially
this was like
it's
a half man.
It's alien species. He's
Right.
basically an alien species.
Basically, right? He's half man, half amazing. You know,
Mhm.
he's basically more than the $6 million man, if you in a sense, right?
I have not seen that.
No,
Nope.
you have to go back and watch the $6 million man. That's when you're looking at, of course, a futurism of technology placed into a human body,
Mhm.
right? Sort of like this, but not to that extent, you know. But that means, you know, like one of the most decorated, of course, black African, you know, superheroes,
Mhm.
right? And you know what? He's got a wonderful story. Let's throw up this book right here real quick before we go into break. This is the new 52 series. You see that right there? Yes. This one came out 2015. I only read the first copy. I thought it was an excellent one by means, of course, you know, it goes with collecting comic books. You know, sometimes, of course, the heart is willing, but the dollars is just not there.
It's not there, exactly.
You know, we are now approaching our break, and what we're going to do is this. Let's throw up the picture of our guest real quickly. Kelvin Nayusi Mawazo from Black Sun Comics. He will be joining us today on the panel to talk about the importance of African superheroes. Of course, the Afro-Futuristic Edition. Stay tuned, family.
We are doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself. Like, you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Peace and love, family. We back here to help you. Dave Rankin alongside Bruce Dwayne. And as I mentioned before the break, our special guest today, and once again, I hope I get the pronunciation correct, because, of course, the last thing I want to hear now, of course, you know what, especially with someone not being here talking about I haven't done my due diligence.
You said it wrong.
Kelvin Nayusi Mawazo.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Curator of the Black Sun Comics, and, of course, The Longest Night.
Yes.
Yes. So before we get into things, by means, let's talk about your start. What prompted you now, of course, as an avid comic book reader? Like, let's take us back from the genesis. How young did you start reading comic books? And of course, let's lead right up until what got you to this point, or I guess, of course, starting your own company.
Good question. I started reading comics when I was 4.5.
Okay.
My grandmother actually bought me my first comic book.
Wow.
On a whim. We were just in the convenience store, and I said, "Gran, I want this."
Okay.
And it happened to be a Superman comic, and she bought it for me, and I've been hooked ever since.
It's interesting because my mother as well. She in fact was instrumental in my comic books.
Yeah.
Right. That, and of course I had a cousin as well. Definitely back then, where they just ensured that of all the books I was reading, at least I was reading something.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And we say that sometimes that, especially for our parents, buy them a comic book. It's okay. They're gonna still be able to go ahead and read. They get the hours, of course, of reading that they would need. The children would need. And for myself and Simone, when we tutor in the community, sometimes we have to go and use, of course, the stories now as part of our lessons.
Yeah.
Right. So it holds weight in regards to the infinite possibilities and how to captivate a young mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling you before in the room that I learned how to reading comic books.
Right.
Like my parents would get me books and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. But to be able to pick up a comic book and just go through it, I was just captured by the images.
Right.
And that made me want to read more. So I just kept on reading and reading and reading, and I could read these things nonstop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of my vocabulary.
So basically, like, were you in, like, what age would you say you were inspired to actually start creating?
7.
7?
Yeah. I have a drawer of comic books that I've made at my house.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever gonna see them. They're garbage.
Because I actually, when I did ask you, you did mention that you do everything digitally.
Yes, I do everything digitally. I can cartoon, but I couldn't draw to the caliber that I thought was enough to make people take it seriously.
Okay.
So I did a digital process using 3D models and digital painting and image compositing in Photoshop.
Okay.
So that's what Black Sun is. That's how that's created. But yeah, I've been creating since I was 7, and I can do kind of cartoonish type stuff.
Okay.
Drawing wise, but this is more professional. I would say.
Professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the 3D, I know the rendering and so on and so forth. It takes time.
Yes.
A lot of time and and patience as well.
Yes.
Right. For your first book, how long was that process?
Oh, good Lord. A year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took a year, but most of that was because I didn't have a particular format yet.
Okay.
I didn't have a workflow down pat.
Right.
Now it takes about a month and a half.
Okay.
To do because I know what I'm doing now.
Right.
But that first year was just, I know this is what I want to do. I want to make this book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to throw myself in there, baptism by fire.
Right.
And just do it.
Yeah.
Right? So it took about a year.
I hear that. Well, now, the first release, it comes out. How are you feeling, of course, when the book comes out? And more importantly, what was the reaction like from the public once they seen your publication?
The reaction was really good.
Okay.
Quentin, who you had on the show before from the Black Speculative Arts Movement, he had actually hit me up. This is in 2016.
Okay.
So we're doing this Afro-Futurism-based event called the Black Speculative Arts Movement. He saw my website, do you want to be involved? I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it so happened that my book was coming out at the same time. So my book actually debuted at their event.
Oh, wow.
And that was actually my first time vending in front of people
Okay.
With a new book. And I really didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I was really nervous, actually.
I can imagine.
But the reception was amazing.
Mm.
Like, I actually sold out of all the books at that
Wow.
one event.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was good.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No worries.
I'm gonna ask you like the basic,
Yeah, sure.
traditional questions. So are there any like would you consider any other superhero that's kind of similar to the futuristic form of like what you're doing now? Like that's out right now. Like any other characters that would be like have that futurism that you're.
Yes, they might not be characters that people really know. I tend to follow a lot of independent
yeah.
black artists.
Okay.
So there's Paul Louis Julie who does Yohansei. There's I forget the brother's name, but he does another comic. He's from Nigeria. He does EXO.
Okay.
So I like that kind of stuff. just in terms of popularity, Black Panther, everyone knows Black Panther. So that kind of represents what Afrofuturism would look like aesthetically.
Right.
So I guess that would be the closest
thing to it.
that most people would know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Why now? Of course, another question. Since of course this is of course the Afrofuturistic theme today. Why Afrofuturism as a theme for your comic books?
Because I think as people of African descent, we have a tendency to focus on our past, our history.
Okay.
Like Black History Month, we don't know about the past. And that's important. We have to know about the past in order to know where you're going. But I find a lot of people can't even picture 5 years ahead, right? Some people can't picture 10 years ahead. And I was in a class with actually Dr. Boyce Watkins, and he said, draw out a plan for your family 7 generations in advance. What do you want your descendants to be doing? And that really kind of blew my mind, because even myself, I never thought, 210 years in the future.
Exactly.
What do I want to see?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So when I got into that frame set, I was like, okay, yeah, we need to focus on the future, right? And you create that future by doing things today, right now.
Yeah.
So did I answer your question? I just said
No, you answered the question.
I tend to do that. I just go off on tangents.
No worries, man. Don't worry. Something wonderful about the show is that it not only just allow us as hosts to go ahead and voice an opinion, right? But it also allow, of course, guests such as yourself, right, to just be open and free, right? Cool. And more importantly, of course, get the message out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So by all means, go right ahead.
Cool. Good to know. I can ramble away.
I'm gonna ask you another question. So, why do you think the Afrocentric comics are kind of being really popular now, even though we had a lot of representation before, and now it's kind of picking up steam where a lot of people are talking about Black superheroes, Black comics, Black Panther. We had Green Lantern before, Static Shock, Spawn, Blade, even more, and we all knew about them, but it's not being talked about as much on this mainstream level as it is now.
That's a really good question. I thought about that myself, because once I started doing this around 2015, I found that there were a lot of other artists doing the same thing. And then, this whole Afrofuturism, I didn't know I was doing Afrofuturism at the time. I was just making a comic book about the future that had Black folks in it.
Right.
And then Afrofuturism, what's this? And then it's I find out that it's this whole movement the more I research. The reason why it's happening now, I don't know. Something in the air, something in the water, I don't know. But it's almost like a renaissance in mainstream media and the grassroots level as well.
Yeah.
People just want to see this type of stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's where it comes from.
Okay.
It's amazing because you know what? As you mentioned, of course, with seeing into the future now, and of course, giving artists this opportunity now to create whatever, right? Whatever they think, of course, a futuristic setting would be, right? Which is amazing because you know what? Who knows? Years ago, when, of course, we had looking at mainstream comics and they were putting, of course, the futurism within their comic books, right? And having these elaborate stories.
Yeah.
We're saying, okay, great. Wow, wonderful colors, good storylines, so on and so forth now. We're now seeing, of course, a lot more of us the representation now, taking this as a step.
Yeah.
Right? You can see now the energy behind it. Right, you can see the inspiration as well, because at one point in time, quite possibly, what is deemed now as Afrofuturism may not be, of course, as well receptive as before.
Yeah, true.
Right, and now, of course, even you just said it, when you set up for the BSAM, right, and you were sold out, right,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
And we sold out our book too as well. So
Really?
yeah, I have to order that again. So
Oh, boy.
it's been doing well. I can't complain.
Excellent.
So something just popped into my head.
Go
So
right ahead.
to answer your question about why it's happening now, I think something else that happened is the proliferation of technology. So these days it's easier to publish a book, to self-publish a book.
Right.
Correct.
You don't necessarily have to go to a publishing house and ask for permission to do it.
Yeah.
You can just
do
do
it
it
yourself,
right?
basically,
Fund
right?
it yourself if that's what you need to do, and just do it. So I think that is part of the reason why,
Okay.
as well as something in the air.
Here.
The ancestors are coming back.
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, here to help you, Dave Rankin, Bruce Dwayne, and as well as my guest, Kelvin, and it was the Mawazo.
Hey!
Yeah, I said it correctly
Yes.
this time. Yes. I took my time, family. We'll be right back after the break.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Greetings. We're back from the break, family. Once again, here to help you. Dave Rankin, Bruce Dwayne, Kelvin, Nayusi, Mawazo, The Longest Night, Black Sun Comics. I caught myself this time. Yes.
You get better every time.
You know what I'm saying? I made you like wine. You know what I'm saying? So, I know we touched a little bit, of course, in your story, you know, and how the reception was. But now let's get into, of course, the comic book itself. What's the setting? You know, give us a brief description in regards to, of course, what is in the first and second books.
Yep. So Black Sun takes place in an alternate universe on a planet that's very similar to our Earth.
Okay.
So the vegetation, the animal life, it's all similar to here.
Okay.
The land masses are a bit different. The dominating superpower on this alternate planet called Alkebulan is called the Sama Empire.
Oh, wow.
And they have ruled using a system of justice for the past 3,000 years.
Okay.
So what that means is the people who need the most help get the most help.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, everything is peaceful.
Right.
Everything is fine until one day this alien mothership materializes out of nowhere and starts attacking.
Oh, wow.
No one knows who these aliens are. No one knows where they come from. No one knows why they're attacking. But most importantly, no one knows how to stop them. So the story is about a group of heroes who have to come together in order to reclaim their homeland from this invading force.
Okay.
And it follows the main character, Yarrow, who you see on the cover here, as he matures. He's been recently initiated into this elite warrior class.
Okay.
So as he's learning to become, you know, a full-fledged warrior, he's fighting these... He's facing his greatest enemy, basically.
Right.
So it's about his journey as he fights these alien invaders.
Oh, wow. How far into the future...
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. Like,
yeah.
what year is it?
So that's the funny thing. Because it doesn't take place on Earth,
yeah.
It could be happening now. So it doesn't really take place in the future, even though I call it Afro-Futurism.
Right.
Now, the society is very technologically advanced. So by our standards, it looks like the future because they have technology that we don't.
Yeah.
So there's no real date. It could be the year 10,000.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah.
That's excellent.
Is there only like one race of people there, or?
Yeah, it's inhabited by black folks.
So it's just a planet.
A planet
Yes.
full of us.
Yes.
That brings a smile and joy. Not taking it from any other cultures, but I mean, you know, but of course, you know, it's rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Yeah, I wanted to do that on purpose because, just as he said, it's very rare.
Yes.
We don't get to see people of African descent making important decisions, even if it's fictional, right? Running a whole empire, running a whole planet, right? So I wanted to do that very specifically. Yeah.
What was the name of the alien race that invaded?
I don't know if I should tell you.
You'll find out if you purchase the book online.
No problem.
They do have a name.
Yes.
They do have a name, but it hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, to them.
Okay.
Spoiler.
So,
Sorry,
yes.
family. I didn't want to get into the spoilers. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's spoilers. Okay. Makes sense now.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know.
But for those of you who follow on Instagram, you can probably see a post and figure out the.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And the name of the planet, Alkebulan.
Yes.
Why Alkebulan as a name?
Because it's the original name of Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. Planet Africa.
Planet Africa.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's one of the earliest names, that's for sure.
No.
Land of the Black.
Well, you learn something new every day.
That's why you need to read comic books.
Comic books teach you things, guys. But don't ever listen to them saying comic books is rubbish, all right?
You can imagine our parents right now. Oh yeah, I read some full comic book. If I pick up extra book, I learn something.
Too funny.
I tell you, you know. My next question is this. Let's go into now the importance now of watching us, or at least reading about us making these decisions, these important decisions, right? How this can now in fact, not only just readers, but of course, everybody else who could be possibly a reader as well.
Yep.
Right? So what will be your take on that?
So for a black child reading this, it serves as a vehicle to boost self-esteem, right? Because maybe in their environment, that's not what they're seeing.
Okay.
Right? Maybe, unfortunately, they've been born into really bad circumstances, let's say.
Right.
But at least through this book, they can kind of see an ideal vision of a future setting, so they can imagine themselves in that. For anyone else who's reading, they get to see something fresh and new, right? Just, take the Black Panther movie, for instance. I think it's at 700 million right now.
Amazing.
And that's a positive view of people of African descent. So people want to see that. It doesn't just have to be the old stereotypes that we're used to.
Right.
Yeah, so like instead of showing us always like making those slave movies, like we're more than just
Slaves.
that's not our history.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly. Exactly.
That's not our history. That's
Exactly.
American history, and that's like the small portion
Exactly.
of what's going on in life right now, right?
Absolutely. So it serves as inspiration, right? And then a vehicle just to see something different,
Yeah.
right? Even just taking Hollywood movies as an example, like they keep regurgitating same thing
Yes.
over and over again. And I know we're talking about comics, but I just like to use Hollywood as an example because people
You can see the
kinda know
relationship
it.
between the two.
Yeah.
Right.
So people want something fresh.
Yes.
And we're here to provide it.
There you go. Let's talk about some of the characters. Now, you mentioned Yero, and I know we threw up a picture of Yero just a while ago. Would you mind, actually, you know what? We got some pictures of some other ones. You can probably go into like a character description of a few.
Yep.
Right? Could we get the picture of, and I hope I'm saying this name right, Inyoni?
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. Inyoni.
So this is Inyoni. She's General Mass' daughter. She is a sharpshooter, and she wants to be a warrior,
Okay.
but she's not quite there yet.
Okay.
So her father is kind of training her to be a better sharpshooter,
Okay.
a better all-around general warrior.
Right.
So she's going to be introduced in book 4.
Oh, wow.
We're going to see more of her.
More of her.
Yes.
Okay, so she has brief appearance in the first 2 books?
Actually, she hasn't officially appeared in the first 2 books.
Okay.
She's one of the most popular characters on my Instagram page.
Okay.
People-
Because I was
people
gonna
love
ask,
her.
I was gonna ask you about that because like even though we're talking about black superheroes, like the female
Yep.
representation of black women, like we need a lot more of that too as well,
Yes.
right?
And that was a conscious decision on my part too, because for me it's all about balance. You have to have the male, you have to have the female. You need both.
Right.
Right. So I just didn't want to do the guys. I didn't want to just do the girls.
Right.
It's the guys and the girls working together and solving problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's go to I believe we have a picture of General Math. No, I like this picture. I absolutely, yeah. He looks rough. There's a reason why he's a general, and you can see by his stance, right?
Yeah, General Math is one of the other most popular characters on the Instagram feed as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
People love him. I'd be curious to get opinions as to why. But General Math is a battle-hardened soldier, so he's been through the trenches. He's been through it all. He's seen it all.
Okay.
And he's kind of like the supreme general of the military of the Sama Empire,
okay,
which is called the Gamba.
Okay.
He's very by the book. It's all about the rules. He doesn't take any ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his character.
Okay.
Oh, and he has the ability to turn invisible.
Okay.
Invisibility. Everybody loves invisibility.
Same as his daughter.
Same as his daughter.
Yes, I didn't mention that before.
Now, sorry, I'm not sure if we were getting into a little bit more spoilers or not.
Yeah,
but,
we'll see.
Yeah, for sure, right? Let's go to Elwazi.
Elwazi, yes.
Elwazi, yes. Now, when I first seen this, I thought this was an interesting take because now this is artificial intelligence, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain this a little bit further in regards to like what relationship she does play to the other characters as well.
So in the world of Black Sun, the warrior class are called Gamba, and once you reach a certain level, right, the highest level is Obsidian, so you become Obsidian class Gamba, and at that point you are paired with an artificial intelligence entity.
Okay.
So if it's a male warrior, the male warrior is paired with a female artificial intelligence entity.
Okay.
If it's a female warrior, the female warrior is paired with a male artificial intelligence entity.
So once again, showing the balance.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
So Elwazi is Yero's artificial intelligence entity, also called a Sidesi in the world of Black Sun.
Oh, wow.
And this person, well, not person, but this artificial intelligence entity provides military intelligence to the warrior. So if they're in a battle situation, the entity can assess what's going on and recommend courses of action to the individual.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it isn't just central. This entity actually travels along.
Yeah. So it appears as a holographic projection, right? Just the face. And it's a psychic, well, again, in the world of Black Sun, it's a psychogenic link between the two.
Both.
So it's actually paired to the DNA of the host.
Okay.
So it can't host with anyone else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in pairing, and I know we don't have no time or a little bit of time. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off this question because it's interesting, especially hearing now the AI. So what we'll do is we'll go to break, right? And we'll come back, of course, continuing our conversation with Kelvin and the LC Mawazo. Peace and love, family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
We're back, family. Here to help you. Once again, my name is Dave Rankin, alongside Bruce Dwayne, and our guest today from Black Sun Comics, Kelvin and Nayusi Mawazo. We're discussing the importance of African superheroes, and today being our Afro-Futuristic Edition. Our last segment, we were speaking about, of course, some of the characters. You gave us a brief description, right? And, of course, I had this question right at the end of the break. The AI intelligence, is this chosen for each character?
Yes. So when someone becomes an Obsidian class Gamba, their personality is assessed, and they're paired with an artificial intelligence entity that balances that personality.
Okay.
So in this case, Elwazi, who we saw on the screen, is paired with Yero, who's the main character.
The main character.
Yero is very headstrong.
Okay.
He's very arrogant.
Right.
He thinks he knows everything.
Can we get a picture of Euro real quick? Wonderful.
Yeah, so this is Yero rushing into a situation that he probably should have thought about before.
Thus explaining the balance, yes.
Yeah, so Elwazi will make him reassess what he's about to do.
Okay.
Right, so that's how the two of them work together and become basically really good weapons, right?
So what if somebody is like really not passive, but like they overthink things and they want to analyze things and not really be assertive and go straight ahead. So like
that's a good question.
And if you have like, so you'll have that entity that would be like, just go and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's almost like a conscious, like you know when you see in cartoons, there's the devil and the
yeah.
It's kind of like that, talking to you.
Okay.
So if you're naturally more passive, then the entity is going to push you along. Go, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Right. This is what's at stake. Okay. So do what you got to do.
That's cool.
But then the warriors are also bound by a code as well. So you wouldn't get a passive warrior. But it
would make sense. Right? Maybe for a scientist or another position, but a warrior, I can understand.
That's a good question.
In Blizzy and Ashiri, I have a picture with the two of them. Perfect.
Yes.
Looks like they're in a contemplation here.
Yes. So this is Mbalizi, actually.
Mbalizi, okay.
And Ashiri. I gave them African names on purpose. And they're husband and wife.
Okay.
Ashiri is a very central character. So what she has the ability to do, when people use their powers in the world of Black Sun, it's called projection.
Okay.
So when she projects, she's able to see the past, the present, and the future all at once.
Oh, wow.
So she can look at you and know what you did. Good fighter, right? But then she's married to Mbalizi, who's an amazing warrior.
Okay.
Who has the ability to replicate himself. That's his projection.
That's his projection.
So the two of them make a perfect team.
Yeah.
She's able to predict what the enemy will do. He's able to
go
take
ahead
care of
and
business.
chart the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in communication with her, with his wife, basically. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. You know, you gave them some interesting powers. I like the idea of projection, especially now. Simone, my wife, she's a psychologist, right? And of course, projection now, of course, is something totally opposite.
Yes.
Where, of course, if you are now, pretty much, if you're in a situation where like you're sitting there, you're accusing somebody of lying, right? You're really projecting, of course, what you're doing yourself, right? So now to hear this now, in a central figure such as Ashiri, yes. See, I caught myself. Right? So, I mean, like, it's interesting to find, of course, these rarities, the rare superpowers, and, of course, to give them psychological terms as well. Now, was this effect purposely? Done purposely, basically?
Yeah. It's all, I'm really big about balance. I think that's lacking in the Black community.
Right.
Okay. So I wanted to show a society with balance. So, the husband and wife, they work together.
Yes.
They're not at odds all the time,
right.
What we usually see.
Exactly.
So they work together. Everyone works together to fight this external threat. Yeah, so that's a basic overall theme
yes.
of the story.
Yes.
So with balance, not really a personal, is it a personal way? How much balance do you feel like you have in your life?
Oh, I don't know. None. So maybe this is me projecting.
I was gonna say, like, you projected a comic book for balance. You want more balance? It's like,
you know what I mean?
That's a good question. I never really thought about that. Yeah, I'm kind of psychoanalyzing myself now. Maybe I'm married. I've been happily married for 9 years.
Much blessing.
So thank you. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is a projection.
But like, you would say you're one way and your wife's another way, and you have that balance.
Yes.
In your family, though, right? So you do have balance.
Yeah, because she's more outgoing and I'm more the introverted type.
Okay.
So,
Well, artists are usually that.
Well, you put a microphone and I start yammering.
We gone through majority of the.
We've gone through all of them. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, who do you connect to the most in the characters that you created?
Oh, that's a good question. I kind of connect to them all. Excuse me. All of the characters represent a portion of me, to be honest. So, who's my favorite? I think my favorite is General Maff.
Okay.
Although he hasn't appeared in the story yet.
Okay.
He's my favorite just because he has a gray beard and so do I.
That's cool, man.
And you said you did give them African names.
Yeah.
Which part of Africa? Like, or do they all like? Because I know Africa doesn't really have.
Yes. So that's another good question. Someone else, I was vending at an event, and someone asked me where the names come from. And I'm like, everywhere. So I just kind of took bits and pieces. And that's part of the reason why it's a fantasy book. I didn't want it to be based solely on a real African, like an ancient African empire.
Right.
Because then, they didn't do that. And so it's fantasy. But it's based on real things taken from, from all over the continent.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. It's been a wonderful experience. To be honest with you, I've heard about the comic. I've never picked up an edition yet to actually go in and read it, but...
Here's one.
and this is actually my first time hearing
Oh, for real?
about
Okay,
it.
cool.
And like, I'm
So I brought
really
these for
interested
you.
in it.
Thank you so much.
Because when I first heard about it, I'm just like, one, I've never seen anybody do a 3D format kind of comic before. So that itself was like, I was just like, oh crap, I want to see this.
Yeah.
Like, and I want to speak to this guy as well. So the illustration in this is great.
Thank you.
I haven't read anything, so I don't know how much of the writing and the reading it is, but
The writing's awesome. Don't worry.
I just assume it's going to be awesome because of like the fact that the character descriptions, what they do, and how they all like intertwine with each other. It's like that's really cool too.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah,
What would you say is next now for Black Sun Comics? What's next now, of course, for The Longest Night and the next steps, right? And more importantly, getting this story out there for now, of course, not just avid comic book readers such as myself, right? But, ourselves, but of course, children of all ages now, right? You can go ahead and learn and, of course, and be, encapsulated, of course, in the story.
What's next? So, finishing this, this is going to be about, well, actually, I haven't decided. It might be 10 or 7 issues.
Okay.
And then there'll be 2 other generational sagas that will happen after.
Okay.
In the meantime, I also plan on doing kind of like a magazine of short comic book stories.
Okay.
So that will be happening in the future as well.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, that's what's planned.
Good.
I've also been commissioned to do other artwork as well. I'm working with a spoken word poet called Nth Degree, so
Oh, wow.
yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Busy's good.
Busy's good.
Busy's good. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We have some pictures, of course, of some of our favorite Afro-Futuristic characters. We're going to throw up a few of them. Let's throw up Batwing. I love this picture. So, the gentleman on your left, the Medic Republic of Congo. David, what's the last name again? Zimbizi or Zimbui?
I can't even pronounce. That name was really hard for me to pronounce.
Right.
That's why I do not pronounce any names.
Better to stay safe.
It's better to stay safe because I don't want it. Zavimbe.
Zavimbe. Perfect. So, an African Batman.
Oh, cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Batwing, that is, right?
I didn't even know about that.
And to the right, Luke Fox was the son of Lucius Fox. So basically, you have one character dying off. Of course, someone else go ahead and take up the mantle. Mr. Terrific. Can we get a picture of Mr. Terrific, please? Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific. This is new.
Yes. You find him in the Arrow series, the Green Arrow, right? In the comic books, he was in the top 5th percentile of geniuses.
Oh.
Yes. By the age of 6, he was deciphering physics. I know, right? A very elaborate
Physics
story.
is hard.
Exactly.
I fell asleep in physics.
I'm sure a lot of us did, But I mean, you know what? Like, the future's bright when it comes, of course, to comic book characters, right? And by means, you know what? Thank you so much for going and adding to this, of course, to this legacy, and more importantly, showing why it is important that we now begin to tell our own story, right? And of course, inspire others to do so as well.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to go ahead and join us today. Dave Rankin, Bruce Dwayne, and our guests from Black Sun Comics. I'm going to say this slowly so I can go to catch myself. Kelvin, Nayusi, and Wazo. Excuse me, Wazo.
Yep, that's it.
Right, there we go. I'm going to show mine
Make sure
too
you
as
get
well.
one of these.
Pick up one of these as well. BlackSunComics.com, HitToHelpYou.com as well. My TSN TV, we out. Peace and love, family.